Hello guys, welcome to Retracing My Africa in the Diaspora. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to just go straight into the business of the day. Guys, I want to discuss the legal implications of Donald Trump's re-election as President of the United States of America. Yeah, we've all had the news around the world. We know that Donald Trump is now going to be the 47th President of the US. And come 2025, he begins his 4-year term. And the curiosity for some of us is what's going to happen with respect to immigration, guys. There's a lot of people asking questions, especially around the diversity visa lottery program. So guys, I am here with the 411. I've been doing some research for the last 2 or 3 days. It's been intense reading and digging around. You know, we don't just come here and do our presentations making up stories. We do research. I do a lot of research around migration before I do any presentation, because as much as I'm not a legal expert, I just want to be sure that I'm giving you guys the right information that can help you in your everyday life as you plan your migration to the United States of America, or as you plan to remain in the US if you're already there. Guys, I'm here. I'm going to be reading out to you President Trump's agenda, migration policy agenda, based on things that he has said in the recent past and also some years back. You know, things that he has been saying over the years about his belief and his feelings about the US migration system. Okay, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's not my words. It's things I have gotten on the internet that you can also get. If you go looking, you'll find this information there. So guys, first I begin by saying that the US has an illegal immigration crisis, because there's a lot of people that are migrating to the United States of America illegally. And by illegally, I mean they cross the border into the US without the right paperwork, or some of them had the right paperwork when they first got into the United States of America and then overstayed their visas, and then eventually they became undocumented, you know? So that's what we're talking about. As per the statistics from the Office of Homeland Security, an estimated 11 million people are living in the United States of America without the right documentation. And those are the people that Donald Trump has said he's going to be targeting. One of the policy items that I'm going to be listing, number 1, mass deportation of undocumented migrants, guys. President Trump said during his campaign that he was going to embark on a serious deportation plan to remove these people from the US, people that don't have the right to be there because they're not authorized, they don't have the right documentation. In fact, he said it was going to be on a massive scale like it has never been witnessed in US history. Yeah, so we need to know these things, guys. If you are in the United States of America right now and are undocumented, you need to keep abreast with the news so that when decisions are being made around immigration, you're aware of what's going on, you know, so that you are not at risk of being removed from the United States of America. Policy 2, Title 42. Guys, for those of you who do not know Title 42, this is a law that actually allows, or let me say, a law that prohibits entry to the United States of America, certain immigrants, to prevent contagious diseases. Now, President Trump, in his previous term, actually used this law to stop people from getting into the United States of America, especially migrants from Mexico who tried to cross into the United States of America along the southern border. He's done this before, and we don't know, but he could use it again. It is very possible, because he had it in place, and then when President Joe Biden came into office, he overturned it. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it's just good to know that he has previously used Title 42 before. He could use it again. We don't know. So item number 3, ending birthright citizenship for children of undocumented parents. Yeah. So now, previously, if you were born in the United States of America, you became a citizen based on your birth there. This is something that President Donald Trump has said he would do. Yeah, and he could use the executive order to do this. So on day 1, as soon as he gets into office, some of these things, we may see them as soon as the president gets into the Oval Office. Number 4, item number 4, ideological screening. Yeah, he's talked about this. Guys, for those of you who do not know ideological screening, it has to do with, like, when you go to the US Embassy to apply for a visa, they usually, interview you and ask you certain questions before they determine if they can give you a visa. Now, ideological screening has to do with the consular officer asking you questions that it's established, whether you have, radicalism, you have these ideas that could be harmful to Americans. If you support jihadism, you support ISIS, you support, organizations that are considered terror organizations like Hamas and so forth, that would be the quickest way to be denied a visa. And yes, he's definitely talked about deploying this. Okay, so and I can see why. Guys, I'll come and discuss this later when I do my final argument. I'll be talking about the green card and how these two things may be connected. So bear with me, just stick with me for a minute. So item number 5, subject visa applicants to extreme vetting. Yeah. So extreme vetting of visa applicants is kind of connected to the earlier one I said. So apart from them asking you questions around, maybe radicalization and so forth to establish if you could in fact be a supporter of a terror organization, they would also just escalate questions around your interest in migrating to the United States of America. Yeah. And so if you're not able to convince that consular officer of why you need to go to the US of A, guys, you could easily be denied a visa. Pay attention, guys. The US Embassy is not a place to joke around with. And I always say this, I don't know how many of you follow me. I have done numerous shorts and videos where I try to, advise people about how to behave when you go to the US Embassy. I've talked about developing confidence, knowing how do you express yourself, and most importantly, telling the truth at all times. So take notes, guys. Take notes. Learn from some of us who have been through this process time and again. Item number 6, he wants to end humanitarian parole programs. For those of you who don't know humanitarian parole programs, these are programs that enable people to go into the United States of America without the right documentation on humanitarian grounds. So they may be going there because they're seeking asylum. They may be going there because they have, it may be health related. It's an emergency that requires them to go into the US even though they don't have the right documentation. President Trump said he would end this program. And there's a lot of people, even from Africa, from Asia and other parts of the world, who have used this program to go into the United States of America and remain there. Because, when you enter the US of A as an asylum seeker, for example, it takes time for your case to be handled, for your file to be handled, and for you to get a response back. So I know many people who've ended up staying in the US for years. They're still up to now waiting for a response from the State Department about their case. Yeah, so this is something that President Trump in the past has said he would end the humanitarian parole program. Okay, number 7, the proclamation, the presidential proclamation law. This is what I wanted to talk about, guys. I wanted to talk about this completely. And I had to study it because I am not a legal mind. I'm not trained in these matters, but I'm interested in migration policy. So I was reading around and found out that in 2020, during the pandemic, in early 2020, when the pandemic was there, when the pandemic started in the US, President Donald Trump, who was in office at the time, instituted this presidential proclamation 114. And what this law does is that it suspended the entry of aliens and foreign workers into the United States of America at that time. And I know some of you remember because, during the pandemic, there was a global quarantine, so to speak, and the US closed its borders and they were not allowing people to go to the United States of America. This is the law that President Trump used. It was issued through CDC. It's the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. They talked about the impact of the impact of coronavirus, the impact of coronavirus on US society. It was affecting the economic aspect. A lot of people are not being able to continue with work, and people weren't going to work because of the corona, the illness, and so forth. And the fact that this disease was spreading everywhere, it became a threat to American society, American people, to bring other people from outside. So they were quarantining and not allowing individuals in there. And so Donald Trump signed this law to stop people from going there, from going into the United States of America. And the consequence that this had is that individuals who had won the DV diversity visa lottery ended up losing out on that because they couldn't go to the United States of America. And remember, as per federal law, once the fiscal year of the program ends, you can't go. You can't go to the United States of America after September 30th of the fiscal year when you won that card, So many people lost the opportunity to go to the United States of America as a consequence of this, okay? And so we don't know if President Trump will use this presidential proclamation again to stop people from going there on the diversity visa. But I want to tell you something, guys, that I found out. Been doing some research, and I found out something. First of all, I found out that President Trump has actually, him and some Republican senators over the years have been trying to stop people from going to the US through this diversity program, actually. In fact, they really have been trying to work to overturn the law that allows people to move to the US through this program. For those of you who do not know, the diversity program began in 1990. It's an act of Congress, and that's how it started. So people were allowed to go to the US of A from various parts of the world legally. And the point of them being allowed to go there was so that they could help diversify the United States of America, especially people who are coming from what you call, countries with a low history of migration to the United States of America. So they were trying to diversify the US, have the United States have people from other parts of the world, and that the diversity would benefit the US in one way or another through, these people coming in with their skills and culture, that kind of thing. That's how it started. But Donald Trump doesn't like this program. President Trump doesn't like this program, and I'll tell you why, because I've been digging around, find out why. And what I found out, apparently, guys, in 2017, on Halloween, Halloween is on the 31st of every October, okay? 31st October of every year. Maybe that's what I meant to say. Sorry, that didn't come out right. So there was this guy from Uzbekistan who had won the green card back in the day and was able to migrate to the United States of America. What the US officials didn't know was that this guy was an ISIS terrorist, okay? So he was given the green card. He won the green card, I think like in 2010 or something like that, and then migrated to the US. So he lives in the US, and then in 2017, October 31st, 2017, this guy goes in New York, in Manhattan, in Lower Manhattan. He basically rents a huge truck, and then he just plans this thing where he goes and basically plows into people that are just minding their business. They're riding their bikes on a bike path in Lower Manhattan. He just went there with his truck and he planned the whole thing, plowed into them, killed so many people, killed like around 8 people and injured a lot of other people, and this was serious injuries. People were amputated, people, had critical conditions. It was terrible. It was bad. Yeah. So now, when the president heard about what this man had done, he was just like, no, we need to get rid of this program because it's bringing in people with questionable characters, people who can commit crimes and stuff like that. That's the reason why President Trump started saying, we need to end this. In fact, he was saying, we need to bring in people based on merits, not this. Yeah, so that's the reason. I think this is part of the reason. This is what I found, and I believe that it makes sense. It makes sense. It's unfortunate that this criminal did this. And by the way, guys, this is 2017. So in 2023, last year March, is when they were finally having his case, this individual's case, finalized in court, and he is now serving a life sentence in a US prison after, you know, killing all those people and doing that. So guys, given the situation, how President Trump has felt about the DV program in the past, based on what I've just narrated to you, I think, if I was to predict, I think that this is something that he could bring up again, because he kept on saying that in those videos I was watching, he was talking about Congress and how Congress needs to work on removing this law that allows people to go there on these diversity green cards. We don't know right now. The Republicans have they have the Senate. We're waiting to see if they're also going to be occupying the Congress, you know, and if they occupy both houses, I think the chances of overturning the diversity lottery program could be, you know, high on the agenda. It's possible. Guys, we don't know. We're going to be watching out. I for sure will be watching out for this one. I will definitely be watching out for this one. And if I see anything, guys, anything at all that is important for you guys, my audience, my viewers, my subscribers to know, those of you who are really interested in the DV program, I'll definitely come and share. And in winding up, I've winded up, by the way. I'm just checking out in a minute. But I want to just say, remember, guys, for those of you who follow me and are always watching my videos, I have said time and again that this is a matter of prayer for those of us who believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Please, please, please pray concerning your case. If you are in DV 2025, please pray. If you are in DV 2026, you need to pray. That's all I can say this time as I end this video. I am wishing you all the very, very best of luck. And of course, we're happy that the US now has a new president, and we're looking forward to seeing what this presidency is going to look like for those of us living in America as migrants trying to make ends meet. Guys, God bless you. Until next time, bye-bye.